Hello, everyone. I am your ghost, and welcome to the PSN Podcast. Today we have the man, the myth, the legend, PixelMania.
What's up, everybody?
And it's actually PixelMania talking. It's not like a message or it's not a song, which is crazy.
It's not like with M chords to where he just recorded some
Okay.
AI robot
Yeah,
saying his
that
lines.
that was weird. That was a little weird, but it is very easy to edit though. And I have 48. Well, now I have 24 hours before MCord shoots me to finish that. So there we go. Do you have like an introduction to introduce yourself, or anything you want to mention about yourself to introduce you?
Uh, well, I'm just a pixel artist who goes on to Pixel Studios, as you all would probably know, and I just try to be myself, I guess you could kind of say. I kind of chill, but I'm more kind of crazy. If you're on the Discord side of things, obviously, you know that. But besides that, I'm decently normal, if you want, depending on what you count as being normal.
Yeah, which is a stretch. Yeah. On the Discord, you are crazy on the Discord. Oh my goodness. I think with one of the threads that was being said on there, and I was like, I made another thread on accident. I was like, what are we talking about? Because it was just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People like Abdiel Chet talking about his cousin, which if you know, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, man. Uh, Abdel Chet, freaking blind gentleman, Turkish Zeus, Gold, and you are just going to town every day with some crazy discussion, and I hop on. I'm like,
Yeah,
what are we doing?
I
Um,
feel bad for people like M Cord, Alice, and Roland hopping on every single day, and that's the first thing that they see.
yeah. Well, I mean, MCore just adores it. You know, he just loves it
Yeah,
for sure,
he's in
for
the
sure.
closet about it.
Yeah. Um, we were talking about Import is like insanely easy to rage bait, in my opinion. He just got like incredibly mad. But yeah.
He's my favorite one to rage bait.
Oh yeah, for sure. So anyways, you started 2 years ago, right? Or how did you get started?
There's a lot of stuff that happened in like the past with alternate accounts that I had, but with the main account that I had as PixelMania, I did start about May last year, as I recall. But besides that, my account really took off with it. And like the one before, it was called like Pixel Hysteria, or and there was one that was called Pyromania, and those
Oh,
ones only
okay.
got like 4 followers, I think.
Huh.
But besides that, this one really kind of elevated off, and I haven't really looked back since, and it did well, so kind of just stuck
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, what are you at now anyways? You're like 500 and something now.
Uh, Last time I checked, I think I'm at 581, 582. Pretty sure follower count.
And then you're gonna sing again at 1,000, right?
Yeah, I'll sing again at 1,000. Yeah,
Alright, bet. You guys need to hear Pixelmania's amazing voice at like 300 followers or whatever number it was.
that song sucked.
Specifically the gunslinger version with the eagles and the rockets and the gunfire and everything. That was a really cool
Yeah, that
version.
one was 1,000 times better. Definitely.
Yeah, I didn't even know you had these other accounts. Of course, I wasn't really around then. I took like a huge break in between things. So yeah, I didn't even know about that. But where did you get your character from? He's like this crazy guy with like spiked hair that is perfectly pointed in each spot.
Yeah, so it was about summer last year, and I remember that I was outside because it was about around, I think, the time that summer break was about to start. So I was outside and I was just drawing on my phone one day, and I realized that with all the rest of my OCs that I did, none of them kind of stuck out like with people you have like CRJ, like with his OC, or people like MCord, where their OCs kind of have like uh one of a kind kind of look, if you know what I mean. So I was just trying
Yeah.
to emulate that and said that whatever instinct that I had just to draw the first thing that I came up with, and then Stag was the first sketch that I came up with.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. And you got like the visor thing is really cool. As I said, it reminds me of like Cyclops or something like that. But yeah. Wait. What about your other characters? You have like a lot of other characters that are in your new account right now. It's like what is there? There's I know about Might Man. I don't know all of the Static Shock characters, but I try to keep up with that somewhat. And then is there one that starts with an M? It's like Molly or something like that.
Yeah, Molly.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so for the rest of my OCs, I was gonna make Molly and Tobias, the other two that I mainly use, a part of this PSN one, but it's kind of broken off in the middle right now because you have like the ones that are like Nate, which I barely use, which was originally the OC for Pixel Hysteria. So I just brought him back as a joke, but barely anybody knew who it was, so there wasn't very much kind of context behind that. But besides that, there's kind of just the Static Shock ones, which is a big portion of them, and then there's just kind of the small middle ground of the PSN version of Stag and Might Man, who kind of just make up that small portion.
what's the freaking the TV host guy? That guy's cool. I was going to do like an art, um, where I'm in like a similar fashion of that person, but that's cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember it.
Johnny A. Goody, right?
Yeah.
Is that
It's
like
been a
Johnny?
while since I
Is that like
animated
Johnny?
any. Yeah.
Is it like Johnny Carson? Is that what you're getting it from, or is it just
Yeah, it's from Johnny Carson.
yeah, like way back when you started? What were your like favorite people on PSN, or what were your inspirations?
Around the time that I had like joined and first saw Pixel Network, it was around like November, December, I think, is when I
Okay.
first started doing pixel art. But
Hmm.
that was before I think all the AI stuff happened. But I wasn't really involved or talking to anybody. Kind of similar to M Cord situation where he kind of just was stuck to himself about most of the things and was
Yeah.
just trying to be his own stride in a way. But around the time of April or March, I believe, is when the AI stuff happened. I kind of forgot the exact point, but it got chaotic, and that's kind of when I got rid of the second account, I mean, of Pixel
Okay.
Hysteria, and
Yeah,
that's how
that's
you got
Pixel Stereo.
PixelMania. I would probably say that my main inspirations are probably people like I'd probably say Rob the King, Turkish
Oh
Zeus,
yeah,
just because of the great
yeah.
anatomy that they have on their drawings.
Hmm.
People like M Cord, CRJ, even Ham Toodles.
Oh yeah,
I'd probably
they're
say are
really
some
good at
big
their stuff.
inspirations too.
Yeah.
But I kind of look at everybody as inspiration, especially if they can do good shading and everything and have vibrant colors. They're all pretty much inspirations, I would say.
Yeah, I really like the like you do kind of a checkered pattern thing on like the edges of some of your stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. You do kind of like a pattern thing, and I saw it on that the DK Island thing you were doing, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. That's just like not something I would think to do, but it works very well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It helps kind of texture stuff out and kind of make the eye more kind of drawn to it in a way because of the different colors and shapes that kind of make people
yeah,
go, wow, look at that a little bit
yeah.
more.
And is there like a art style you got inspired from? Is it like is like Sonic or something like that?
Yeah, my main inspirations for starting Pixel, I'd probably say was the Earthbound series, because I
Okay,
remember
yeah,
watching my dad one day, yeah, when he was playing it, and I remember thinking, "Wow, I want to make something just like that too." And also
yeah,
watching him play, like all like the mainline Sonic games and stuff, and it was just, I really liked the art direction they had and all like the ways that it was done. I thought it was really interesting.
yeah. I've never actually. I know very little about Earthbound, but I know like the style you're talking about. I know how everything works there. So yeah, yeah, I can definitely see that. Okay, so what are your favorite things about Pixel Studio?
Well, starting off at my favorite things, I'd probably have to say just kind of the small humble at most times community aspect that everybody has. Everybody knows each other for most of the part. It's kind of like a giant friend group in a weird way, to where
Yeah.
everybody's kind of connected to each other.
Mhm.
I kind of didn't really, to be honest, for things that I don't really like about it, I don't really like how PSN was before in a way. Just it was very hard for smaller artists to take off, but I think now it's kind of like a renaissance era for where now
Yeah.
smaller accounts can have an easier time trying to kind of get off the ground.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
not I'm
you
not
can.
saying that I don't like any of the older people. In fact, some of the older people had very excellent art
Oh
compared to
yeah.
like now, for example, where you have like people like Nukes who's like profile picture art got to like 900 likes, where now the average is about like 500 each week,
Mhm.
I would say.
Yeah, and that was that I'm trying to think of how really long ago. That was probably like 2 or 3 years ago when it was like a time where nobody but like the top 20 or so people could get anywhere on Pixel Studio. But I'm really glad that now it's kind of mellowed out a lot more with that.
Yeah, because a
Um,
lot of new people have a lot of talent that I think is, I've seen talks about how like new artists only do like anime girls and just do very lazy meme art. But I think that that's kind of how everybody kind of starts in art in a way. It's not really. It's more about the journey, not really the destination that gets you there. They'll eventually start to learn how to start doing shading and then start using more vibrant colors. It's kind of just more like a process of developing your own skill, and eventually you'll get to that point. That's my opinion, at least.
yeah, and I have looked through like countless like I scroll down constantly in the like radar section stuff. I've looked through tons upon tons of stuff in that area, and there are just so many people who have been on PSN for like um at least like a year or something like that, and they might have like one follower, and they're like the posts they have like maybe like 6 likes at most, and it's amazing. Like it's great stuff, and like it's stuff where it's like, man, I can't do anything like that, and it's really good, but they just haven't
Yeah,
really made it there. But yeah, yeah, it takes a little time though.
yeah. It's
And,
kind of a group effort type thing to kind of help the new
yeah,
people off the ground, but
yeah, it's like you join people's discords, and you get talking to people, and people are very helpful on PSN. So yeah.
it even
Um,
kind of helps if I have to if I ever sorry if I ever had to give like an example of how I think how newer people could kind of get off the ground more. It would just kind of be to try to be more vocal, try to comment under people's art, try to just say nice things. And I think that if you put more positive energy back into the whole stratosphere of
mhm.
Pixel Network. I think that can also help with the things like the trolling war things that happen, or
Yeah.
just like the negative stuff. I think it kind of help reverse everything, get it back to how PSN used to be in like 2021, 2022. I think it's kind of the way how we have to rebuild it and how everybody just kind of has to be together again. You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's like if you want to be big in the community, you have to be a part of the community. Like there's no other option. You unless you are already at that point, you pretty much like you need to talk to people and like comment positive things on the post, and just get involved more. And I do agree with you.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's a big part of it. So when I started this podcast, I was commenting on people's stuff like, "Hey, you should join the PSN podcast. There's all this stuff here," and I kept commenting on people's stuff. And within like the first day, I believe I had like 40 something followers.
I think it's just kind of a thing to where people feel like they're gonna pester the person, or
Yeah,
they just think that they won't be noticed for saying it. That's
yeah.
my opinion, at least. But
I do
it's kind of also
understand.
the secret.
Yeah, I do understand. It's kind of like a fear of because people on PSN are kind of like a flip of the dice. Like you could say something completely normal, and they would just be say something incredibly rude back to you. So I kind of get that, but at the same time, you just got to take the risk, I guess. So, what are your future plans? Do you have any like future career plans? I don't know.
Well, for future career plans, I'd say like my dream job for like this one, I'd probably say like my dream job would be to start an RPG about Static Shock and try to get more into like game development.
Oh
But
yeah,
the only
yeah.
issue is that I kind of can't code
Oh
at all,
yeah,
so that's
yeah.
kind of the
That's
main problem.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
Maybe when Nuke gets done with his project, he can help. Who knows? Yeah, yeah. Talk about Static Shock. That's one thing I was going to ask about.
Static Shock it was mainly inspired by things like Fallout and BioShock and Earthbound, so it's kind of like a mix of all those things together. But it started from an idea where I kind of got tired of how Fallout lore was, to where it was just very trying to think of like the word, not necessarily nuanced, but it just felt very ignorant to how reality would actually work about how things would work in like an apocalyptic situation and like an area that's around like here, like I live in like the Midwest territory of like the United States, and I always thought it'd be cool if like somewhere like Chicago was made somewhere like a city in it, which usually that's this entire like area of the kind of Midwest area is kind of just kind of neglected from stuff like video games, movies, and everything like that. It's kind of just
Yeah.
ignored, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean James
But
Dean, but that's all I can think of. So
yeah,
yeah,
to kind of summarize, it has a lot of lore that's on CRJ's Discord server if you're interested. But to kind of sum it up, it's about this girl named Molly who comes out of this bunker that's called a facility city, and it's about her having to go across the wasteland because she's getting haunted by like these ghost demon false god beings that decide to use her as kind of like a flesh tool to kind of help them be able to accomplish their goal of just kind of demoralizing everything that's left so then they can take back over. It's also kind of like Greek mythology, if you know what I mean. Stuff kind of like that with like the false gods and like the demons and all that. It's based off of concepts like that.
yeah,
But
and there's like amulets and stuff too, right? Like Zeus's amulet and stuff like that that gives you powers or something like that.
yeah, so it's like a supernatural abilities come from her. After each chapter, you have to fight like a different god being, and then after you beat them, you get that supernatural ability. So like after like the first one, when you beat Zeus, you get the power of using lightning and like lightning rods down onto the ground, so it helps with combat and stuff like that. I'd try explaining a bit more, but it's very
Yeah.
complicated, so I'm gonna try to go into PSN with that more kind of explaining that.
Okay. I do have one more question. Is it all so does it all take place in the Midwest or is it like a full America travel or something like that?
Uh, for what's planned right now, it goes from around somewhere like New Buffalo to over to like top of Chicago down to like Lafayette, if that's like a good way to kind of map it out. If you know like the territory
Yeah.
areas
Okay.
around there. So it's a decently sized map, but if there was going to be a sequel, it'd probably go up to like where like Milwaukee and St. Louis are also in the Midwest.
Okay.
Because like the area is kind of just not really talked about, and I think there's a lot of good locations that could be interesting for like a apocalypse story.
Yeah, and a sequel you should put like if you do Michigan, you should do like Mackinac Island and stuff, just like this island and it's like a defense area or something. I don't know. I've never been there, but it looks cool. So
Hmm.
yeah, it kind of reminds me of. Have you ever played Death Road to Canada?
No, I've seen videos of though before, and I kind of see. I remember when somebody else said that a few months ago,
It
and
was
I
really
looked it up, and yeah, it kind of does look like it.
yeah, it's a really fun game. So I think there's definitely some potential in Static Shock though. I think it would be really cool. I try to stay tuned in all of the games being worked on because there's multiple, but Static Shock seems like really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now it's time for Abdil Chet's funny question, but also dark question. What is your personal hell?
Um, I'd probably say if I had like a personal, I'd be somewhere where you're constantly being blamed for stuff, where everybody can never forgive you. It's almost kind of just like an infinite loop of you remembering everything that you did wrong and how you can't do right anymore. It could be like an endless guilt train if I could word it like that. But it's
So
just
like,
where nobody cares to ever apologize for it or accept your apologies. That'd probably be
yeah,
mine at least, I'd say.
it's like dreams because I have dreams sometimes where just like, oh, look at this, you did this, that sucks. Or I'm always thinking like, man, you could have said this instead of that. That was really stupid. Why didn't you think of that? So that would just be
Yeah,
terrible
exactly.
as an entire world or pocket dimension or something.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just like a place to where every you can keep trying to, but you don't know that you never can. So it's just an endless loop of you trying to make things right and make amends, but there's no point in doing it because it won't ever happen.
it's a place where you're Meg from Family Guy, pretty much. With all of this being said, is there anything you want to mention or talk about?
Uh, trying to think. I think there's definitely some people who probably could use a shout out from here. Some like smaller accounts, I would say. I
Yeah,
could
for sure.
probably say that people like Cheesehead, Cheesy, Rollin' One Real, Blind Gentleman, even some and many other people, but I probably say some others like Abdiel Chet. He's a good person. Obviously, Ghost. Uh,
Oh yeah, me.
and
Wait.
just pretty much
Graduo
everybody
Belt.
else who's kind of helped me. Hmm?
Graduo Belt. He was talking about how he's the one with the least followers. Everybody follow Graduo Belt, please.
Yeah, please. Yeah, he's a good dude. Same
Uh,
with Uso too.
yeah, Uso too. Yep. Um, Yeah, that's great, man. This is the first time we've had this many shout outs on here. You'll love to see it.
Yeah,
Anything else
I
you want to
definitely do
mention?
think that. Uh, hmm. Do you have any like other questions that you could think of just to ask?
I'm
Because
trying to think. I'm trying to think because it's really hard to think of just questions on the spot. But who is your favorite larger artist, and who is your favorite smaller artist? You could do something like that.
so I'd probably say my favorite big account to kind of word it like that. I'd probably say people like B1T or people like CRJ. I'd probably still say are my favorite just because of like the Talk to Gertrude chapters that he
Oh
does,
yeah,
and also just like the fan arts that he also does for people like fan art roulette. I think
yeah.
those are pretty cool. I'd probably
Sorry.
say that like my favorite smaller artists would be. It gets to the point to where I don't really view myself as like a bigger artist because I have like 500 followers, but I never really view myself. I still view myself as like I'm at like 51 at 51 followers on PSN still. So
Yeah,
trying to
I get
think.
that. Yeah,
Hmm.
I would say 500 is a pretty big account myself, but yeah, you've made quite a few big accomplishments in the time that you've had, and so is and that reminds me of CRJ. CRJ is like risen to where he is pretty quickly actually. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, what is fan art roulette? Because I keep hearing that being named in the Discord, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. So,
it's like a roulette round, but it's to where there's 6 slots, and then you draw your OC on top of one of the slots, and then
okay.
either when it gets shot, you have a chance of being the one who has to make fan art for CRJ, or you have the chance of getting fan art from him. So it's kind of
Oh,
like a back and forth kind of shoot round like that,
that's really
but it's
cool,
randomly
actually.
selected.
That's really cool. So, what's a major like bigger than your normal day on PSN ordeal that you were in or viewed that you thought was funny, cool, terrible, amazing, anything?
Well, there's some stuff that I probably can't exactly mention just because of things that have happened in the past that I think are kind of better left as not being mentioned in this context that I think I could
Yeah.
have done much better at. And I feel definitely bad for the things that have happened in the past that I feel like I could have done better in the situation. But just saying from like a more funny perspective, I think it's kind of funny sometimes where there's like servers, like MCord server, where it's
Hmm.
like Endorps. I've it's kind of like a mixed bag sometimes with her. I think she's a good person, but I just think that some of the stuff she's done in the past isn't great. We can all agree on that. It definitely wasn't a good thing. It wasn't a good thing at all to say. Just because of insults and everything, it shouldn't be allowed or tolerated, definitely. But I think it's kind of funny now to where just some of the stuff that happens to where everybody has like a mini freak out in the server, and then I'm like the only one who's gotten treated good, and then I'm just sitting there like, what are you guys talking about? She's completely fine. I think it's kind of sometimes a funny situation, and I mean she's done well places like our nation. She's been completely fine there, which I'm
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised by that. But
Hmm. What do you think people would want to know about you, or is something very interesting about you that you think people should know?
uh, hmm. I definitely say that if I ever had to give something to kind of say about myself, it's that deep down there isn't. I don't really have like a need or like a thirst for like power or order or anything. I'm not really. I don't think I'm like rude or evil. There's not like some like deep thing. If I ever do something, it's usually not because I'm trying to be a jerk, but it's just because I'm also trying to stand for the person who also stood by me when I was in the same situation before. That's probably like a nice thing that I could probably say just as a thing to mention. Nothing I really do is meant to be bad if it does come off rude or bad, but it's just because I'm also trying to stand ground for the other person in the situation. Which, for all I know, I could be wrong about that. And if it is so, then I'll stand by the other person. But, you know,
Yeah. For what it's worth, I think you are pretty good at standing your ground, and I think, we all make decisions that we wish we didn't, but I think you've made a lot of good ones personally, so yeah. Um so with that being said, as a closeout, um are there any plugs that you have or anything with Pixel Studio or outside of Pixel Studio you want to advertise in any capacity? I know you have a Discord.
Mm, yeah, I'd probably say that to anybody who is listening this far into the video and hasn't gotten tired of hearing my voice yet, I'd probably say I'd probably recommend joining the R Nation server. You know, everybody's there, civil, calm. Like, you know, like I know people probably immediately got turned off as soon as they heard Endorps, but like, trust me, she's calm. You know, she's normal. We haven't had a single incident. It's been like a month now, but I definitely recommend joining that. Joining the Gambly server that's in my link to my profile. I'm gonna update once this comes out. If you are interested in joining it, it's pretty dead there right now, but you know, it's kind of the point, just kind of like a hangout spot just for anybody. And I'd probably also just want to give a shout out to using Geckobi. I know I probably mispronounced that, but it's she's somebody very special to me on PSN, if you know, kind of thing.
Yep. I think most people know, and we're all very happy for you. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Well, with all of that being said, this is probably the end of what episode is this? 7? There's like three at the time of recording this. There's like 3 other episodes that I have yet to post, and I promise. So as long as Import does not shoot me, I promise that I will post those, and I will try to do it today, but we will see. Anyways, it's been a pleasure. It's been a long time coming. Not really a long time coming, but it's always been hyped up for PixelMania to come on. So here they are, and it's been a pleasure. So see y'all later.
Thank you. It's been great having me here. Thank you.